Thanks for joining me today, Tsahi. There was some big news this month. Twilio Video is back from the dead. What happened?
I don't know. I wasn't the fly on the wall. I can only assume things that happened there or try to guess.
Right.
My guess is that they had some pretty big customers pissed off at what they were headed or what they did, because a lot of their customers probably use very little video, but a lot of other of their services.
Mm-hmm.
So think of someone doing north of $100,000 even a month or a year for SMS and voice that does just a bit of video, and you manage to piss him off.
Yeah.
Now he's going to say, well, why should I stick to Twilio when I can go to 3 other vendors to get voice, SMS, and video instead?
Yeah.
So I guess it went that route.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I mean, I think the whole situation has been pretty weird, right? The fact that lots of us in the industry were kind of left guessing when it happened, now left guessing when it comes back, and we've heard all sorts of rumors and made guesses in between and since then. So it's strange, at least from I think a business branding perspective on their part. Could certainly understand that they've annoyed some customers along the way, and so I guess it's about retaining customers for them, most likely. Do you think, is it certain industry verticals? Do you think, how do you think this changes their focus going forward from what we can tell?
They made it clear in their blog post around that.
Mm-hmm.
What they said is, well, we're going to do customer engagement.
Yeah.
And if you look at the whole way that this is written, it's about data, or let's say CDP/segment.
Mm-hmm.
So what they want to do is to do whatever they're doing with segment, do that for video, which means I'm a consumer or customer connecting to an agent in a call center. But instead of doing it over voice or messaging, I'm going to do it over a video call.
Yeah.
And then the whole integration that they have with Studio, with Flex, with Segment are things that are going to put in the pipeline for WebRTC as well, or for video calling as well. Why? Just because.
Yeah. I mean, but when they say, we're just doing this for customer engagement, I mean, that's one of those terms that at least I find very nebulous. Maybe you have a better, more focused definition of it than I would that helps. But I mean, saying that they're going to invest in customer engagement and mainly one-on-one, well, that's been the majority of, WebRTC kind of from the start of let's put customer engagement into an application. It's a very squishy term, I think. I don't know.
Not really. Let's say that what I have is a dating app.
Mm-hmm.
So the two people. So I think it goes like this. They are going for asymmetrical use cases where 99% of the calls are going to be one-on-one calls with a media server that is capable of, at the very least, recording the audio and transcribing it. That's I think that's the majority of the customers that they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
They might, so it's a doctor-patient healthcare. It's a teacher-student for one-on-one private tutoring. It might be call centers, video instead of voice, but it's not going to be dating or group meeting or social games with 4 people sitting in front of and whatever. It's not going to be these. I don't see these as the majority of their customers. And it's funny because if you think about what happened in recent years, it started with, well, we're doing WebRTC. What does that mean? One-on-one, peer-to-peer, because that's what WebRTC does. Then we started doing larger groups, ever larger groups, 5, 10, 4, pick the number, 49, 200. And these groups are either on the social side, it's friends gathering together, or it would be something like, a work meeting of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So unified communications mostly. Then you started seeing solutions that go to 10,000 and more. So that would be large webinars, town halls, live streaming, broadcasting. And most of the video API vendors or programmable video vendors went from two to group to the large scale stuff. And now we're at a point where we're all going back to one-on-one because, well, we need generative AI and one of them you need to transcribe and do this and do that. We're going back to the one-on-one interactions.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. If you're one of these vendors, you might have 2 or 3 very large customers doing broadcasts, and the number of minutes that they do is going to be like a lot higher than call centers, just because of the number of people and participants and the whole noise that goes into that. So is focusing on one-on-one going to be beneficial from the monetary perspective, like direct revenue that we're going to get from it? I don't know. A bit skeptical. For Twilio, taking that route makes a lot of sense because they can invest a lot less in specifically video and more in things that they want to do now, which is pipelining all through the vertical up to the call center itself.
Well, and I think that makes sense. And I don't think Twilio was ever known in the CPaaS space as, you know, the best solution for large group video chats or certainly broadcasting. And so I think that, you know, in that sense, it makes sense because they're going to have to rehire a lot of people or find new people, you know, that they already let go. They've got to rebuild that video team to some degree. But, you know, having a focus more on the smaller use cases at least limits the number of people that they have to leave, have to bring back rather. So, you know, I could see some logic in that. And I have always felt that, like, kind of in the CPaaS space in general, that we would reach a point where everyone is not going to try and be the CPaaS for all use cases and all solutions, that there needs to be, you know, there's going to be people who focus on the broadcasting and then people who focus on the one-to-one or, you know, Gen AI integration, whatever the case may be, right? So this is a step in that direction, a strong sign in that. But it's still weird because, you know, this happened, you know, a year ago, in a time of a lot of turmoil at Twilio. This announcement was made just before founder Jeff Lawson left. And then, you know, under activist investor pressure, and I'm not going to claim to be an expert at any of that, but it was interesting when the new CEO came in, you know, they talked about taking a hard look at underperforming parts of the business. And so I always assumed that, you know, the decision to cut video was part of that, you know, something they had seen as underperforming, and it probably was underperforming as a standalone business unit, right? But they've obviously reassessed its overall value in the ecosystem. But you know, how does all this affect kind of their relationship with Zoom, who they were referring people to, and kind of the CPaaS space in general? Because some of those effects aren't going away, right?
They're likely not going to refer their customers to Zoom anymore.
Right.
One thing, but I'd say the damage is already done.
Yeah, exactly.
From an industry perspective to their competitors. So it might end up being a good thing for Twilio, by the way.
Okay.
In that sense. Other than that, I guess you have 3 types of customers. Those that have taken their sweet time with the migration. So for them, it was only management time that was lost, which is fine. Nobody counts that, at least. Then the others would be those that have finished the migration. Now they are going to be really pissed, and some of them are not going to look back, or a lot of them are not going to look back. The third one is the ones that are in the middle of doing that migration away. Now, what's going to happen with them? Are they going to continue, or look at what they did so far as sunk cost and just go back and stay pissed off at Twilio? That would be interesting to see the dynamics there.
Yeah. So you know, in what situations do you, kind of our closing question here, do you think should people still be transitioning away from Twilio, or you know, depending on the use case, perhaps?
Yes, I guess if you're doing one-on-one, you can stick to Twilio. If you're not, run away. That would be my suggestion. Because it will work, but it will probably continue to deteriorate because it's not in their focus, and it will not be in the coming year or 2 in their focus. So you're just losing time over a platform that is not going to cater for your needs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate because I have a lot of respect for Twilio and the other things that they do outside of video. They do really well with a lot of messaging work, but it's
Yeah.
always felt like video was a side project to them, a lower priority thing. And this on again, off again only, increases that vibe, that negative vibe to me. And I think will kind of in the video community, but perhaps it's still a good business decision for them overall. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Well, Tsahi, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on this as always. And for those of you watching, Tsahi's got a great blog post up about this. As always, a lot of great graphics in there. I appreciated the Halloween theme fits in this topic very well.
That's my son. I'm not part of it. He's doing all of the images for my post.
Well, doing a great job with it. So yeah, you can definitely check that out for more of Tsahi's thoughts on this. Tsahi, anything else you want to share on this topic before we wrap today?
Just that I've got a video API report about this space. It was done before Twilio went back with their service, but it is still relevant for those that need it.
We'll need some minor updates again, but yeah. All right. Well, thanks for sharing your insights with us today, as always, Tsahi. And to learn more about Tsahi's work, check him out at bloggeek.me to learn more about future episodes of WebRTC Live. Check us out at webrtc.ventures. Thanks, Tsahi.
Thank you, Arin.